Hi, and welcome back to episode 11. We are here today with Nikki.
Hi.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
So, typically to dive into the show, I go into who you are, your, life, things that you might be doing, current day, past, if you'd like to talk about, and then we go from there. The show kind of just takes off on its own. So,
Okay. Yeah, I'm open to all of it.
Awesome. So, you are a content creator.
I guess if you can.
I would say so. Yeah. That's how I found you.
It's funny to even say that, but yeah.
You definitely are. So that's how I found you.
I just started posting probably in April, and before I used to kind of make fun of people that would post on TikTok that I knew personally. I'd be like, "What are they doing?" And then I started doing it, and I kind of like fell in love with it. It was like a therapy to me, almost.
It is a therapy.
And now I'm just like, what took me so long? I should have started back in 2020.
But I think I found you. It was it was definitely an addiction related, not episode. Wow, Marissa, my brain is stuck on episodes right now. And it was an addiction related post that you had put up. And I want to say it was about Overdose Awareness Month. So it was in the beginning of August.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wow, this girl is really like into this. And, you could tell you've come a long way. I'd watched some of the other videos that you put up about like changing your life around and, getting your life back into your perspective. And I was like, damn, I need to reach out to her. Like she needs to go on the show because you can tell the things that you talk about and how far you've come, that it took a lot of trial and error and pain to go through. And look at you now. Like it's amazing to see where you are now.
It took me a long time, longer than it should have, but everything I went through was for a reason, and I'm here for a reason, you know what I mean?
Where were you born and raised?
So I grew up in Weymouth on the South Shore. Yeah, I'm the youngest there's three of us, but my brother's passed away, and then I have a sister that's 8 years older than me.
And did they struggle as well?
My brother did struggle later in life. My sister, no, she's not an addict or anything. We have like mental health and addiction on both sides, mostly my mom's side of the family, but I was like more of the mess out of all the kids. My brother kind of hid it a little bit better.
So she didn't struggle, but he did.
Yes. Okay. He had more like mental health stuff, but later on in life, he kind of got into the meth, and that's what happened with him.
Did you always live in Weymouth?
So when I was younger, we lived in like Hull at one point. We lived in Hingham. We kind of bounced around to Weymouth, but it was all the South Shore. Yeah.
So I'm a North Shore girl.
It's so foreign to me over here. Well, I did live in Everett.
That's how I feel when I come to the South Shore. I get nervous.
Yeah.
Once I get on the expressway and I start going down, and we're hitting like Hingham and Norwood and like going down towards the expressway, I'm like, this is the South Shore. Like my nerves skyrocket.
Panicking. When I was on the highway, I'm like, do I get off at this exit? I don't even know what to do.
That is so mean.
And because I'm just so comfortable everywhere on the South Shore.
So how did you like living in Everett?
Well, I was using at the time. It was so the North Shore. I'll give it to you guys. You guys have better restaurants. But I wasn't.
You think so?
I do. Yeah, I think Boston and the North Shore they're just like more up to date things. Like South Shore is kind of lacking a little bit.
But it's different living, I feel like, too. Like, I feel like the South Shore is so much more relaxed than the North Shore. You know what I mean? Like,
it is.
It's not, everyone's in a rush here. Everyone's uptight here. Everything's always go, go, go. And I kind of feel like when you're into, like, Quincy and you're getting into that type of area, things are just so much more slower paced. Unless it's just my imagination. But I feel like...
Maybe a little bit, but yeah, your imagination too.
I just feel like it's a different type of living. Maybe because
I'm so
different. Used to being here.
The people are a little different.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at, is like the living is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because up here, I feel like everybody's in a rush. Everybody's irate. Everybody can't drive for shit. Like,
no, I know everybody's crazy. Well, there's more diversity.
Yeah, that's true.
So
maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so that's different. Like once you leave Weymouth and you hit Hingham, all those towns there's like no diversity until you like, Hingham, Situate, Cohasset, Marshville. It doesn't change until like Plymouth a little bit and then the Cape. So that's very different.
I haven't been to Plymouth since they put us on a school bus and we went down to see the Plymouth Plantation.
Oh, Plymouth's
Oh,
nice.
I have
It's
not been down there
huge.
since. So I never realized how big it was, and I didn't realize,
It's massive.
sorry, Plymouth, that there was actual houses down there.
You thought it was just like a rock.
A friend of mine was like, I live in Plymouth, and I was like, yeah, no, I ain't coming to see you. I'm sorry, we're not doing this.
No.
But I, as a kid, just thought it was like pilgrimage land.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize there was actual houses out
No,
there.
it's nice, and there's
It
little
is
ponds
beautiful.
everywhere. If I was
Yeah.
gonna own a home, I think I would like to own a home in Plymouth. It's just
Really?
nice. Yeah, I mean, it is just fun. I do like being close to Boston. Like I am 20 minutes out of
Yeah,
the
that's
city
not
with no
bad.
traffic, so I do like that. But
So let's talk about how you got into helping others in recovery and
mhm.
how your videos have given strength to people with mental health, people with addiction, kind of lift them up where they need to be. I feel like you're very powerful with your words.
So I have been kind of quiet in the past about my struggles with addiction and mental health. I mean, people that know me personally, they know, but like at one of my last jobs, I worked at this country club for 5 years, and nobody there really knew about my past. I was sort of like kind of ashamed of it, but I also didn't want to be like categorized as there's still a stigma of
Of
like,
course.
junkies, they're thieves, liars, like say something goes missing, like I'm going to be to blame. Like these were just things that went on in my head when it's like in actuality, addiction touches everybody. Like if your life hasn't been affected by addiction or mental health, like
You're lying.
you're lying. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, it's not the truth. So when I started posting so first when I started posting, to be honest, I wanted to just like make money. I was like delusional. I thought I was gonna be like a TikTok shop affiliate. I thought I was just gonna like add the link to my video and these videos would pop off and I'd be one of these stay-at-home
People would be
moms.
buying
Yeah.
things and you get the commission.
Yes. And like I just sold like 10 pairs of sunglasses and like that's it. But then I started to make videos about recovery and I saw that that's where I got the most traction from and the views and people were engaging. And then I had a viral video right away about me just talking to my son before school, like hyping him up, telling him how like cool he is. And people were like, oh, I wish that like somebody did that to me when I was little. And it was like, I don't know, it just made me feel like I was helping people. And then when I made the video about me being white trash from Massachusetts, like two dead babies' dads, and relapsed a million times. You wouldn't believe the message. I like woke up, I had like 2,500 followers the next day, and people were like, "I have two dead babies. Like I have, you know what I mean? Like I've relapsed a million times. I have one of my babies
It's
died
relatable
dead."
content
Yeah,
that even if you felt some type of way at first posting it,
yeah,
you helped so many people. Like it was an eye opener.
yeah,
And I think that's where people get the misconception because it's like, oh, they go on TikTok and they post, right? But that resonated with so many people that look at the following that came with it.
right.
Those people aren't following you just because. They're following you because it resonates with them. Maybe some think it's funny, but
Hmm.
I bet you 85% of those people had something like that happen to them. And
Right.
look at all the people that came forward like, hey, that happened to me too. I have the similar situation going on. So that must have made you feel good knowing that you were able to get that message out there and kind of open people's eyes that they're not alone.
Yeah, and to be like, it's okay to like be a mess. And
I'm a mess.
we're
We all
all
are.
we're all mess in our own ways. And not only do I struggle with addiction, I struggle with mental health, and
Same.
that's okay too. I have to take medicine every day. I take an SSRI, and that's just part of my recovery. That's part of what I do for my mental health, and like it's all right. My page isn't all like funny. Like, it's not all like serious.
Right.
All this recovery, like
It's a mix.
yeah, it's a mix, and I just want people. I want to be relatable. I don't want to be like Alex Earls and all those people. They're amazing. Like they have millions of followers, but they're not really relatable for me. You know what I mean?
I think raw, unedited footage of someone really going through something is where people relate the most because everyone always feels alone until they go to a meeting and they hear someone else talk about it, or they go to a program and it comes up in group, right? And then it's like, damn, okay, so I'm not alone. Someone else is going through the same exact thing. And you
Mm,
feel like that's your safe space. I think you created such a safe space for so many men and women just off of that topic alone and off of that video alone that it showed people that they could be cared about and valued in a way that maybe they didn't feel before.
right. Well, the thing was like, I have 2 kids,
Mhm.
and for a long time, I wouldn't tell people that I had an oldest son because I was so ashamed that I had a son when he was 3 months old. Like, I went to jail, and I didn't come out until he was over a year old, and my sister had him, and I never got him back after that. I just continued to use, relapse, do the same stuff for years, and so I hated myself for that. And as a woman, as a mother, it's like we're supposed to have this maternal instinct. We're supposed to get sober for our kids. Even like with men, I don't know what it's like to be a dad, but like look at like single dads. When you hear like somebody's a single dad, you're like, oh my God, wow, like he's got the kid. Like I wonder what's happening with the mother. But you don't think that when it's like a single mom. You're like, it's just so common. But I feel like there's such a stigma behind moms that, may not have got their kids back. And I feel like it's important to talk about it.
It is. It's huge because as many moms as there is to dads, the stigma is always around the mother for some
Mhm.
reason. And
Yeah.
I've noticed that because plenty of dads lose parental rights to see children based off of numerous different factors, right? But for some reason, the world loves to stigmatize mothers. And I don't think it's right because each parent is equal, right? So
Hmm.
each parent is given the same set of rights. And it takes
Exactly.
something to trigger the domino effect that happens after, but that doesn't mean those dominoes can't stand back up
Right.
and start all over again. You drive the path that you want to lead, right?
Yeah.
And if you're struggling and you get your life together, nothing is saying that you'll never see your children again. And I've had this conversation with plenty of women that have come through this house, and they say, you know, I gave parental rights, or I'm doing a temporary guardianship. So and so has my child, and the way to them, and I know when you're going through something in the moment, it seems like it's not going to happen,
Mhm.
but it's recoverable. You can recover from the situation, and if you put the work in, you
Right.
can overcome it. And I think that goes for fathers and mothers because it's not just a motherly issue.
Yeah.
It's not based off of mothers in general. It goes both ways. So the stigmatization around it is just not fair to mothers, you
No, it's
know?
not.
And it seems like mothers struggle the most because it's your child,
Yeah.
like you birthed and gave birth to this baby. And if something's happening in which affects, the guardianship of the child, it's always the mother that seems to get the blame. And I've never
Right.
understood why. But the father goes through the same thing.
Yep.
And it's bizarre to me because how do you sit there and say, well, the mother's wrong? What
Yeah,
about
both
him?
are equal in the
What about
situation.
him? You know what I mean? Like, is he
Mhm.
not at fault? I've never understood that, but I
Right, we're
think,
supposed to be the strong ones as women, I feel,
yeah,
but
but
that's
it
not.
took two to create a child.
Yeah.
It's not like it was just all the mother. So, like,
Yeah.
how are they not at fault either?
Yep.
I never got that, but a lot of the girls will come through here and say, I'm not seeing my child. I want to get my child back. And like, I am probably the biggest advocate for like, do it, you know,
Mhm.
make your child proud, right? Even if you get to see them twice a week for 2 hours a week, that's a start getting back into their life. Like,
Yeah.
do it. You want to prove the system wrong. You want to prove the father wrong sometimes, like, or
Yeah.
your family wrong. Do it. Do whatever it takes to get to that point.
Yeah. And I know so many people that they don't ever get their kids back or they sign their parental rights away, and that's hard because at the end of the day, you have to be okay no matter what. You can't let that destroy you and eat you up. It's just going to take you out and it's going to just kill you.
Yeah.
So my oldest son, he's in 7th grade and I only have him twice a week. And but it's better than nothing. And I want
But
him
you're
to
in
know
his
that
life.
I'm in his life, and I want him to know that I did at least fight for him, but I do struggle because I have a younger son. He's 5. I don't want him to ever feel like, well, you got sober for Connor, but you couldn't get sober for me. You know what I mean? It's definitely hard. It's difficult trying to navigate, but I feel like talking about it with other people.
Yeah. Do you think he understands that you're doing everything you can as a mom to be there for him, or do you think he kind of feels that way?
I don't know. He's really difficult to like. to talk to. I've like never really sat down and had a full conversation with him because he's at that age where like I need to start. I haven't had that full conversation.
Seventh grade's a fun time, I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, I was different in seventh grade than he is. Like he's all about football, right? Like all sports, but right now it's just all football. He's very busy. He has his friends. Like he does well in school. I was not like that, so I feel like he's at a different like level of maturity than I was.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just like
I was always
feeling it
in
out.
trouble in seventh grade.
Me too.
I was in the office.
Me too. Getting suspended.
Same.
I just wanted any
Same.
attention. Negative was better than nothing.
My desk was always in the hallway. I was always in the hallway. I
Yep.
was walking out the back door, coming back at 2:30, saying, "Yep, I was here all day." Like,
Oh my god.
I wasn't. I was roaming
terrible.
around Winthrop, like just doing all kinds of things. Like,
I was taking the train to downtown Boston, getting my nose pierced at the corner mall.
but this is now the time to like. I think this is a good age because
Yeah.
he's getting into higher education.
Mm.
Maybe this is the time to sit and say, "Hey, you know, I'm doing my best." Like, I can tell you're a loving, caring person. I just from talking to you and like obviously seeing things you posted about your children, you can tell you're a wholehearted mom.
Yeah.
You know, there's some parents that kind of front it like, "Oh, my son, my daughter, this, that, and the third," and it's like they don't really care because they're out with their friends, they're doing this, they're doing that, and it's like
they just post pictures.
it's an act. Like it's an act, but you can tell that you've really restructured your life to be there and in whatever way you can better and be a part of their lives. And obviously you have Connor with you full time, but your older son, you're doing what you can and that's all that matters. You know, a lot of parents don't get that opportunity. They don't get the chance to even see their children. So that's wonderful that you have that chance to build a bond, you know, and be able to say, look, now's the time that I'm doing what I can. And I think any child that sees their parent put in the work in, they value it. They understand. I don't think there would ever be a child that wouldn't because that's that bond. That's that bond with the mother, you know?
I show up for him, you know, and I feel like that's the stuff he's gonna remember.
Of course.
I try to make up for the past by, you know, money and going places. You know, I go broke just taking these kids like on vacations and to do but the most important thing that he cares about is that like I show up at his games or
because that's what he's going to remember. It's not
Yeah.
going to be that you guys went to Canopy Lake Park 6 times in
Yeah.
summer of 2025. It's going to be that you're there for his little graduations and you're there for football and like my mom's here, you know. And as a kid, I remember looking out and my dad worked a lot, so he wasn't really around, but he was around at night to eat dinner, shower, and go to bed. And then the next morning, he was out at work again, and I didn't see him till the next night. But I remember always seeing my mom show up for things and not my dad. And just seeing my mom there made me feel so much better.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah,
I feel
you
like
need them there.
you need it. That's the memories you're going to remember.
Right.
As many times as my father took me to do little things here, there, and everywhere. Sorry, Dad. I just don't. It's what my mother was there for. You know, now we have a different relationship where he's older, I'm older. He's a very sick man, but we have a different relationship now than we did when I was a child.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, absolutely.
I can count on one hand the things that he was able to go to, and his job affected a lot of it. So it wasn't that he didn't want to, but he was in a position where he couldn't take time off, couldn't get there physically. So my mother was my rock. And you gotta kind of realize as a child that if they're here and they're doing this for me and they could be elsewhere, that's what you're gonna remember.
Yeah. It's hard because the baseball games are so long and I like
You want to rip your hair out of your head?
I don't even know a thing about baseball and
I
I'm
don't
sitting there
either.
like when is this gonna be over? But you know
Football's a little more fun.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
We can follow that,
We
but I'll
can do
tell
that.
you,
It's only like an hour and a half.
me and baseball, we don't mix.
No, me either.
No, my ADHD and my anxiety, I'm like twirling my hair. Get me out of here. I can't do it.
I'm not looking forward to it. But yeah, I just show up for them and I think that's like the most important thing I can do.
I think so. I think that's where it makes a difference.
But I love being a mom, you know what I mean? And I think that's why I couldn't get sober for so long is because I knew I was supposed to be like raising this little boy and I almost felt like I was okay because he was with my sister and he wasn't with the state. So I was kind of in the beginning. It was like I'll just go back and get him when I'm ready. But I was not. I was never ready. I couldn't get sober.
What age did you get sober?
So in 2017, I went away. I went up to New Hampshire and I got a scholarship to go to treatment. And that's the first time I was ever like in recovery. And so I stayed sober for a year and a half, almost 2 years. And then I've had 3 relapses. So then coming up on October 8th, I turned 40 this year. So October 8th, I'll have a year again.
Awesome.
But it's like, I feel like I've still been, you don't lose any of that knowledge.
No.
Anytime you put together some serious clean time in recovery, you still have all of that.
You keep adding tools to your tool belt.
Yes.
So whether it was a relapse or not, you had the prior knowledge of how to make this opportunity in this time around better, to further it.
Yeah, like my foundation of my recovery was going to AA and the steps. And I'm not perfect with that now. I'm not like this meat and maker, but like if I needed to write inventory, like I can do that. I know I have all these tools, like you said, like I have a whole toolbox,
So do you feel this time around in your recovery you're doing anything different than the previous times around?
I'm kind of taking everything that didn't work and just leaving it in the past, and then everything that does work and adding it into my life and really trying to. I made a post about this the other day, just loving myself. I'm like, I have fallen like so in love with myself this year. And I think it's like through posting, it really is therapeutic for me. I've learned to just put it out there and just say, this is me. This is everything I've done. I have lost a kid. I don't have my son. I'm not raising him. I've relapsed millions of times. I've been a disaster. Like, there's nothing anybody can say about me that I already haven't said about myself. Nobody can like hurt me more than I've hurt me.
Right.
So I think that that's helped me so much to I really found myself this year.
Do you think by having the empowerment of other women stand behind you,
Oh, absolutely.
it's pushing you to strive to do better? Because I feel like empowerment is huge.
Yes. And like all like the messages I get and the people that can relate to me. And I've met people from all around the country. Like I've talked to some of them on the phone. Like they're amazing. And it's just the community on social media of recovery can be really supportive.
Do you think the community, and this is going to be probably a controversial topic.
I love controversy.
Say. All right, let's do it then. Do you think the community of recovery on the internet is a little more forgiving than the actual community in Massachusetts?
That's hard. I feel like a lot of people kind of front a little bit and maybe pretend like they want to help everybody, like, oh, I'll help anybody. But when it comes down to it, they're not going to do it unless someone's watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So on social media, you're just a name, a username. You know what I'm saying? So I think it can be more forgiving.
I feel like, obviously I primarily work in North Shore, but I have seen a more forgiving side of recovery in the South Shore. I don't know if that's because there's the thing between North Shore, South Shore, and the unspoken rivalry that happens with the dynamic and divide of the state. But I feel that online, right, you're getting people from all over the country. You're getting people from different countries that have gone through similar or the same situation, right? When you're working with such a small area like North Shore sticks with North Shore primarily, South Shore sticks with South Shore primarily, then you get the western part of Mass, like it gets very clicky.
Yeah.
So I think you get honest, upfront, real-time opinions online than you do where you're living, because we work with different agencies and different programs, and I've seen people to other people's faces be like, yeah, I'm all about recovery, this, that, and the third, like this is great, I'm gonna help so and so, and then behind closed doors, the conversation is so different, and it's more of like fronting, that fronting kind of coy workaround, I'll say.
Yeah.
And it's not as authentic. And I feel like when you're dealing with people in a larger geographical, online, you're probably getting some of the most raw, vulnerable people that you can get opinions from, you can get advice from, and support from, opposed to the actual community in which you live in.
Yeah.
That is what I've found. And
no, that's
I'm
so
sorry
true.
for any viewers or listeners that are listening that maybe think that's a controversial topic, because I know NA and North Shore is real strong, and AA and South Shore is real strong, and there's everyone has their niche, Tim, is that what it is? Sure. They have that,
Oh, sorry.
they have that. But online, it's like, if If it aligns with you, it aligns with you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it just ends there and that's it. Now
Right.
you can have your say, you can have your opinion.
Yep.
I'm not going to use the expression I want to use, but I'm
Mhm.
sure you know what I'm thinking.
Mhm.
Everyone has one, but
Mhm.
it ends there. It's on a saga that continues and it goes through
Yeah.
the halls and it goes through the PHPs, IOPs. It doesn't operate like that.
Yeah.
It just ends there. So I almost feel like if we could have virtual
Yes.
24/7, that would be great because people kind of conduct themselves better online than they
They
do in
do.
person.
Well,
That's
I'll give you an example. Like I know so many people they've gone to meetings and they'll raise their hand and say they're struggling, and then after the meeting it's like crickets and they're like nobody went up to me because
yeah.
but I think sometimes a lot of people are just you're in a big room full of all these people and it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, somebody else will deal with them, like I gotta go out to dinner with my friends after, you know what I
See,
mean?
I'm
And
so like I've been to different events where like it'll be networking, right?
mm,
And there'll be women from a halfway house that come in and they'll be too afraid to ask a question, but you can tell they want to say something or they're kind of
yeah,
whispering to their friend next to them and they're advocating for them. I'll walk up to them and be like, hi, how are you? Like, my name's Marissa. I run Kathy's place. Like, do you need any help? Like, here's a flyer, a pamphlet, whatever. Like, you can tell when someone's afraid to speak.
yeah,
You can tell when they need a little bit of a push to get the help they need. But I love when people are like, hey, can you help so and so get into treatment? It's like, yeah, man, don't worry. I'll do it. I'll help you. And then it's radio
yeah,
silence. And there's
crickets.
absolutely no support whatsoever.
No, they're like, who's
That's,
watching? It's people watching me do this.
well,
Like,
they
do
need
I
to
get a
get a
fucking
pat on the
sorry?
back. No, you can swear. It's okay.
Okay.
They need that fucking pat on the back
Yeah.
because if they're not getting the notoriety,
Then it
then
doesn't
who
matter.
saw it didn't count. And
Right.
I hate that.
It's like doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Like, what? Why
And
can't you
that's
just be this person all the
right.
time?
You should always be able to do the right thing,
Mhm.
whether someone's looking, the cameras are rolling or not, because that's the moral thing to do. If
Right.
someone's struggling, you see somebody sitting on the sidewalk that's asking for money that is an amputee.
Mhm.
What are you going to walk by them and not give them money? It's not, there's a lot of different scenarios that I could say that I've seen where maybe necessarily in life I would like to go back and change that I've now seen now with the knowledge that I have that I could better handle the situation,
Right.
and I feel like if a lot of people in this community were able to reevaluate things a little differently,
Mm.
we wouldn't have such harsh judgment on the actual problem itself because addiction and mental health get looked at so poorly by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then, like, for instance, I won't say which resident, but we've had a resident that thinks because alcoholism is not addiction.
Mm. Mm.
Hate to break it to you, sweetheart, but it is. Like,
Yeah.
if that helps you, sleep at night and you want to say, well, I'm not an addict, right? Sure. Like,
Right.
it's everybody has a different outlook
And
on
that's
it.
like the most dangerous one too.
Yeah, I know.
For me, that's why I couldn't get sober. I
Oh, I
couldn't
know.
accept that I was an alcoholic because I've never like woken up, had the shakes, like physically dependent on alcohol, but I am the type of alcoholic addict that I can't put anything into my body or I'm gonna just go off the rails, whether
Right.
it's the next day, 6 months, a year later, I'm gonna spiral.
It's something that people, I think, have to take into account and into their own personal inventory because, like, the conversation I had with this person was, well, you live in the house for a reason, right? And clearly we do alcoholism and drug addiction here, and it's a recovery home for those two topics amongst mental health, right? Well, obviously we're
Mhm.
not a mental health facility, but that is the driving force of a mental health condition,
Right, they
right?
go hand in hand.
So you kind of need to take into the fact that yes, I am, but maybe you need to come to terms with it and be okay with it first.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that.
Yeah,
So
you have to accept that. And I know people that they had a drug addiction and now they're able to drink. It's kind of a journey that everybody has to go on for themselves. I am not that person, and it took a lot of pain for me to get there. So I like to talk about that because you don't have to like lose everything to realize that you can't do anything. Most alcoholic addicts can't do that. You know
yeah,
what I mean? There's like the different type of alcoholics.
everyone's brains are wired differently.
Mhm.
But what I do notice most is even between just strictly mental health or mental health and addiction, we'll say, because they goes hand in hand. And I think last week we had this discussion with Erica. Maybe it was Erica or Sarah. mental health is the portion that causes the addiction. I feel like nobody
Yeah.
wakes up and says, hey, I want to shoot dope. Like no one
No.
thinks that. Something triggers it to happen, and it's the mental health portion. It's like a tree, it comes
Yeah.
down the tree. um I don't think a lot of people get that.
No. For me, it's just like this hole inside my soul that I wanted to fill with anything. I can fill it
Yeah.
with whatever it is, but I chose drugs and alcohol to do that with. But then I get sober and then I fill it with other stuff,
Right,
shopping,
right.
anything, spending money,
I was just
whatever.
gonna say aimlessly spending money,
Yeah, that I
adding
don't
things
have.
to the Amazon cart. Yeah,
I'm the type of
same.
friend that's like, you want to go on vacation? I'm like, let's go. I don't care. I'll
Yeah,
spend every
same,
dime.
same. You want to go see Chris Brown? I'll pay.
Yeah.
Like that was literally my
You only live
theory.
once.
I know, right? I was like, hey, I'll pay it back later. It's not a big deal. Where is Nikki now in your journey?
So, like I said, like I'm coming up on my year again. I don't really focus on the time as much. It's more about
Don't.
how I'm living right now. Um, but so I'm trying to get to work in the recovery field. I have mostly just done like hospitality and serving, bartending. I just kind of want to get away with that, get away from that. It doesn't really serve a purpose in my life.
Do
I
you
would rather
think it
help
makes it
people.
worse?
For me, no.
Okay.
I've never no. Um, I can like make cocktails all night and don't really because when I'm just at work, I'm just like it's just
It's work.
yeah, you're just working,
Yeah.
you're just going, and I don't struggle with that. But I can see how it would affect some people, and it would be really difficult
Yeah.
to work with
We've been
alcohol.
having that conversation with someone that maybe right now working in hospitality in a restaurant is not beneficial because since it started, the relapses have been more prevalent.
And especially in early recovery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not helping the problem right now. But
right.
I'm glad that you're able to be living proof, like Sarah was, that you can work in a restaurant, you can work in a bar, because a lot of people do have that. Oh no, not me. I can't do that. I'm going to be around alcohol.
Yeah,
But
well,
you
people
drive
don't want
down
to
the
go to events.
street and there's a bar or a liquor store on the corner. So
That's why I don't really like the word trigger because it's
yeah.
like life is a trigger.
Oh,
I like
everything is.
wake up, open my eyes, and I want to use. So you can't really use that as an excuse. The point of recovery is to get better, do some work on yourself so that you can go anywhere and the obsession is removed. And that's like a
I like
beautiful
that.
thing.
I like that a lot.
I could drive to somebody to detox. They could use right in front of me. I mean, I'm not going to put myself in that situation,
Right.
but I was around somebody using at during my first year of recovery, and yeah, it was just like disgusting and sad to me. Like I was like, you couldn't pay me to do this right now. You know what I mean? Because I was at
Because it
that point
clicked.
where I was over it. I felt
Yeah.
bad for this person. You know.
When the puzzle pieces start to come together
Hmm.
and you see it's not prosperous in your life anymore, and obviously it never was, right? Like it
No.
was never something that was like getting you anywhere of where you wanted to be, but now you can get where you want to be with other things filling the void of drugs. You're able
Yeah.
to have a career, you're able to have your children in your life, and turn to social media to be able to advocate not only for drugs but mental health and for parents, parental rights, things like that. Like you found what you needed to put that in the past, and I just love that for you. I feel like that a lot of people need to find things to fill their idle time with,
Yeah.
to not have those, I'm gonna say it. I know you're not gonna like the word, but triggers.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
they need to
They
fill
are
the
real, but
they
yeah.
need to fill the idle time slots, because as soon as someone starts having idle time is no good.
Yeah. It's no, it's definitely a dangerous place to be. Like my kids keep me busy, mostly my 5-year-old because I have him full time. So that's a full time job just dealing with him. But it's also hard too because there's this like mommy wine culture, and your kids can drive you nuts. And at the end of the night, it's like I can't sit down and have a glass of wine and just like relax. Like I'll just like have some melatonin or magnesium, and I'm like, oh, tomorrow's a new day. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that can be hard, but he keeps me busy.
Well, that's good though.
Yeah.
So you're looking to get into recovery to
Yes.
work. What do you think? What type of program would you like to work on?
Um,
Anything, or do you know specifically what you'd like to do?
Kind of just like anywhere just to get my foot in the door, but I maybe like do some outreach work or be a case manager. I have a couple things in the works right now. Um, so yeah, I'm excited about that, but mostly like, so what I'm doing right now, this social media thing, this like TikTok page is this huge community, as well as me supporting other people's pages. And it's that I feel like it's just building this, like all these connections.
Good.
because not everybody can get to a meeting. Not everybody feels comfortable going to meetings, and not meetings don't work for everybody.
Right.
You know, you kind of have to figure out what works for you. So I love that we can kind of all connect with each other and identify and relate. And
I like that. We run a women's empowerment meeting on Tuesday nights in East Boston. And we've had as young as 18 years old come through the door and be like, I need to be here because this is what I need to hear.
Yeah.
And it's a workbook that we use that is all about empowering women, setting goals, finding boundaries, things like that, to better structure your life and have that empowerment behind you that I can and not I can't.
Right.
And we had an 18-year-old come in with her mom, which I think was probably a huge eye opener
So
for me
sweet.
because mom was like, you know, you need to hear this. You're at that age where you need this support
Yeah.
and it's going to help you make better choices in life. And it was really touching because I had an older mom growing up, you know, and obviously she wouldn't have thought probably to send me to something like that. But it was nice to see mother daughter duo come in and do it together, work the actual workbook together, raise their hands, talk about their experiences, talk about how they want to better their lives. And the whole room was just clapping for them.
Yeah.
And I loved that because if you can empower an 18-year-old to do better, if I could go back and
Right.
tell myself at 18,
Oh my God, if I could just talk to that girl
I'd be like,
that I
wake
was.
up.
Yeah. I'd be like, stop caring
Open
what
your
people
eyes.
think and grow up.
Yeah.
You know?
But it was just nice because, like, it's not the typical meeting. It's not an NAA meeting. It's empowering women to do better. And it was something that a friend of mine and I wanted to start in 2024. However, that friend relapsed and was not able to help. And then 2025, one of the house managers we had was like, hey, look, we need to do this because there's so many people, not only the women that live here, but women in the community that are struggling that just don't have that support.
Yeah.
And we have a pretty good following with it.
See, I think like even if you don't go to meetings, I think one woman's meeting is like super important. I think that every woman in recovery should be doing that.
And it says open to all. So whether
So even if you're not,
right, whether you identify with the mental health portion, the alcoholism portion, addiction, you know, heroin, meth, whatever it may be, it's a safe space for you to come in. Even if you just want the support of empowering yourself to feel better, the door is open.
Just to be around other women that are trying to be better.
Like-minded.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love that. I think there should be more meetings like that.
I do too. So, Nikki.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I really enjoyed getting to meet you in person. Like, you have a bright, bubbly soul when you're on the internet, but you are such a shining light in recovery, and I think that you're going to help many people get to where they need to be.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming, asking me to come on. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so supportive. I love it. I'm going to do a little shout out so everybody follows on my page.
Awesome. So, thank you.
Thank
this
you.
wraps up episode 11. Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.